The headlines: public sector pay talks likely to start this month. Rastas confront the AG on marijuana. And another tough day for the Windies in Sri Lanka. Welcome to Nation News for Wednesday, October the 14th, 2015. Thanks for joining us. It has been 6 years since public officers last had a salary increase. And although government remains short of cash, the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations says it has approached the Ministry of Civil Service to open pay talks. General Secretary Dennis Tupiza said he had been given assurance that a meeting will be held this month.
I'm yet to receive a letter from the Ministry of any day or time for a meeting, but we are very much on the trail of keeping this issue alive, and we have to keep it alive because the length of time which public officers have not had the salary increase is, of course, inordinate.
Mr. Tupiza said they would also be discussing conditions of service as the protracted delays were not in the best interest of workers. He was speaking on the sidelines of a young leaders workshop at Ammon Bay. It has been confirmed that the American hotel chain Wyndham will manage the new Sam Lord's Castle when it is completed as a 5-star resort. The agreement was finalized in New Jersey on Tuesday. The 450-room hotel, which is scheduled to open in 2018, will be Wyndham's 13th property in the Caribbean, where it began last month on the clearing of dense bush that had overrun the St. Philip property. 3 Rastafarians confronted Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite at a public forum on crime on Tuesday about the government's policy on marijuana. They chastised what they said was the failure not to follow Jamaica and decriminalize the use of small amounts of ganja. Ras Martin said it was time that government paid serious attention to what is happening in the Caribbean.
I'm also a member of CRO, which is the Caribbean Rastafari Organization. And his brethren in Jamaica, Antigua, St. Lucia, who are reasoning with the government about the ganja issue. And if you could get these things and let us sit down and talk and reason, we could do our part as Rastafari to reduce not only the crime in the community, but the crimes that are committed against us.
Canada just tell Jamaica, Canada, the country that you're all powering, just tell Jamaica, plant the ganja. It's $1 billion industry. Yesterday behind me, continue to pull up dollars, that all the youth men, they could be outside more productive. Doing something more productive.
Right now, you are burying your head in sand or you're in denial. One of two of these things. And next thing, you see all these people with PhD and the degrees and all this thing, then you're doing studies. And these kind of studies with tourism and people coming together. You need to deal with the grassroots people, not people just with PhDs and them things.
In response, the Attorney General held to his stance that Barbados will not make a decision based on what has happened in Jamaica. Mr. Brathwaite said the Parliament in Kingston had no choice but to change the legislation because of the large number of marijuana users who were clogging up the country's criminal justice system. Also speaking during the forum at Princess Margaret Secondary School was head of the Barbados Tourism Product Authority, Kerry Hall. She warned of serious repercussions for the country if crime is allowed to escalate. Dr. Hall said Barbados cannot afford to lose its competitive advantage as a safe and stable destination.
As we seek to open up the tourism industry, to reinvent and revolutionize the tourism industry and enhance the quality of life of all Barbadians, crime, if it spirals further out of control, will act as a drag on these plans which are being put in place for the benefits of all Barbadians.
However, Mr. Brathwaite cautioned about the message being sent to the world by local media and others. He said that while he's not denying that Barbados has challenges, the message cannot be that crime is out of control here. A 7th man has been remanded to prison after being arrested and charged in the shooting death of farm worker Jamal Warrell on the 2nd of October. 23-year-old Rico Jabari McLean of Fairfield Crossroad, Black Rock, appeared in the Whole Tongue Magistrates Court 2 days after the other 6 co-defendants. Mr. Worrell, who was 23, was shot and killed while on the job at Bleak Plantation, St. Andrew. Minister of Agriculture David Eswick is pushing a message of food and nutrition security to the nation. Dr. Eswick told reporters at a media briefing that a policy and action plan on the subject has been drafted for presentation to Cabinet. The plan is aimed at maximizing domestic food production and ensuring households have sufficient resources and knowledge to access safe, affordable and nutritious foods.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, several programs and strategies are already being executed by various ministries and other agencies to achieve food and nutrition security. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Fisheries and Water Resources Management will certainly galvanize its efforts to promote increasing agricultural production through greater collaboration with farmers and seek to enhance the technical support, the incentives and programs which it now has provided over several years. To this end, the ministry has recently established and in several cases revived production and marketing committees in 7 agricultural subsectors, namely poultry, dairy and beef, pork, cotton, vegetables, root crops and small ruminants. These committees will provide a forum for discussion with major stakeholders and in so doing assist the ministry with the formulation of relevant policies for the development of those various subsectors.
Sport now. The West Indies toiled all day as Sri Lanka reached 250 for 2 at the close on the first day of the first test at Galle. Opener Dimov Kararatne is unbeaten on 135 and Dinesh Chandimal, who was dropped on 11, is 72 not out. Kemar Roach and Devendra Bishu each took a wicket. Standing coach Eldin Baptiste gave credit to the bowlers who toiled on the slow pitch.
They put their hard work in, they bowled brilliantly and, in the circumstances. It's just that we drop a few catches, which we would have liked to call. That would have made a big difference. The score could have been 220 for 5. Instead, it's 250 for 2. So we've got to just go home, recover, come back tomorrow, and get the ball in the same area and hopefully make sure we take our catches.
And finally, a church congregation in Ohio ordered a pizza from Domino's during a service, then tipped the driver more than $1,000 that had been collected for the offering. The driver, who said her name was Natasha, brought the $5.99 pizza to the Sycamore Creek Church on October the 4th. Reverend Steve Markle brought her on stage and asked her the biggest tip she'd ever received. She said about $10. That's when Mr. Markle told her that the teaching at the church has been about being generous, so the congregation had taken up an offering for the driver, who broke into tears. The Columbus Dispatch newspaper reports that the congregation, which draws about 500 to 600 people each week, was wrapping up a sermon series on I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. And that's Nation News for Wednesday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. And remember to pick up your Daily Nation on Thursday or subscribe to our e-paper.